In order to actually self-improve, you have to be able to kill the old you. And what I mean by this is this. Self-improvement is like you trying to stretch this rubber band. And the more you try and stretch it, the more you're trying to do something to improve yourself. So you're adding on top of the foundations. The thing is, that's not actually how you have drastic change in your life. Because at a certain point, you're going to stretch the rubber band until you can't stretch it anymore. And any sort of effort to do so results in either it breaking or going back into place because you don't have the strength to further stretch it. What I mean by kill your old self is think of it as this. If you want to improve, you don't keep pushing, you actually change the rubber band. You change your default state. If there is a high, there is a low. Imagine you right now, this is your default line, this imaginary line. And any sort of improvement is an up and down because you see yourself as a certain person, right? You see yourself as a person who does this. And you doing something else like meditation, swimming, sprinting is an acceleration in your growth, so you're going up. The moment you stop doing it, you go down again and you feel like you're in a rut. Like you're no longer the same person, or like you're no longer doing the same things that you want to do. And that's when you start feeling horrible, and thus you go down below your default line. If there is something to gain, there is something to lose. Self-improvement isn't about happiness. It's not about gaining something. It's about peace. And peace is when you have nothing to gain and nothing to lose. And you're probably wondering how you can actually self-improve if you have nothing to gain. Well, that's the thing. In order to stretch the rubber band to a place you've never stretched it before, in order to actually go to that high, you have to place yourself there by killing the old version of yourself, by no longer thinking that you're the same person. And I'll give you an example because think of when you were 8 years old. Think of when you were 8 years old and you had a certain set of friends that you no longer really talk to, you had a certain number of values that you no longer believe in, and you look at that person like a completely different person. Like, that's the young me. In order to go through drastic change, you have to have that same level of perspective for you yesterday. You have to be so delusional so that you can actually change your default line to where you want to be. So that you're no longer trying to gain anything and you're no longer trying to lose anything in the sort of habits and goals that you have. In order to actually self-improve, you have to improve the self to a point where you're already where you want to be. You change the rubber band to a bigger rubber band so you can stretch it further. Or you just make it so big that you don't even need to stretch it. If you are constantly wanting more, you're going to identify as a person who wants more. If you want a six-pack, you're now a person who wants a six-pack. If you want to do something tomorrow, you're always going to want to do it tomorrow. You see, self-improvement has become a case of just wanting to do more, wanting something that doesn't actually exist because it never comes. Tomorrow is never going to come. Wanting a six-pack isn't having a six-pack. Wanting to lose weight isn't losing weight. You have to believe in yourself to the point of delusion and change your default state. And how you can do that, the actionable steps that you can take is number one, to actually buzz your head or shave your beard or do something like cut your hair to remove that old version of you so you look completely different. That's what I did. I cut my beard completely. And what that allows you to do is allows you to actually kill the old version of you. People cut their hair. People buzz their hair out of nowhere. The reason why is simple. It's because they no longer want to be the person they were. And because of how uncomfortable they were, they wanted to change, and that was an immediate way of doing so. Now, if you want to take it further, what you do is you kill the old version of yourself by killing the habits. You remove the habits that consist of what you used to do. And that is how you look at things. You look at the habits that you used to do and say, I no longer want to be that person. I am no longer that person. I never want to go back. So at the end of the day, you have to be able to kill your old self to regain a new self, to actually improve. Because going from the 1.1 version of you to the 1.2 version of you to the 1.3 version of you to the 4 and the 5 and the 6 to the 7, it doesn't really work, and it's not as fast as you ever gonna want it to be. Because at the end of the day, you're identifying as a person who wants more. What you want to be able to do is to improve yourself by changing your default state. Now, you can either do this by killing the old version of you, or you can do this by having a major goal that you work towards, that you're obsessed about. And how this actually occurs, right? The step-by-step instructions to actually get there is to start with the small things, right? The very foundations of your life, like your sleep. So you want to change it so that you sleep consistently every single day, and you move on from there. Not only do you sleep consistently every day, now you wake up at the exact same time every single day. What happens through this is you're changing the default version of you, right? You want to be able to change yourself so extremely, so drastically, that you will change in a matter of seconds. That is what real self-improvement is. This way, you can actually go from the 0.1 version of you to the 3.0 version of you. It's a massive jump. And how you do this is by killing the old version of yourself, and also of striving to build the new version of yourself, the huge goal. And that huge goal you work towards with small steps: your sleep, what you eat, what you do. If you can change the way you live, you will be able to change who you are. So what I would tell you is to, number one, try your very best to remove the old habits, but that's hard. What's much easier is to perhaps change the way you look, change your environment, your friends, remove social media. And after you've done the easier thing, you can also do the easier thing to build yourself up, to build this new version of you, right? That is when you do the default things, right? The default version of you, and when he sleeps, when he wakes up, what he eats, what he does in the morning. And if you can control when you sleep, when you eat, and when you do certain tasks that you want to do, and you make sure that it is a constant part of your life, like it has to be done, then that is when you change.